Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is AKRAM IMADUDDIN YUNUS from AD2411E, and this is a video presentation for my EDU 404 with topic of teaching profession and challenges in 21st century, teaching and learning process during movement control order or MCO. Without further ado, we'll begin with my first findings from the interviews I conducted with my former teachers from my secondary school, which is the first one is I found that ODL or open distance learning is not as efficient to be used as a medium for educating or teaching as physical or face-to-face class. While this may not apply to every circumstances, it does make sense as virtual class will not perform well as a platform for teaching and communication between educators and students, especially with problems such as device or internet problems or glitch within the system or platform used for classes. And this only covers the surface of the problem with ODL. The end point is that educators are having a hard time teaching through online classes because it is not as efficient as physical class and should not be continued as a norm in the future unless in certain circumstances. My next finding is that educators need to be well prepared and ready for ODL. As such, they need to be well versed in information technology and have proper equipment set up in advance. With the implementation of ODL, both educators and students are having a difficult time in adapting to ODL, as both sides need to have proper understanding of information technology in order to manage online classes. Not only that, but they also need to have decent internet connection and working devices for online classes to be conducted well. Bad internet connection and devices can cause online classes lesson to be disrupted and prevented from continuing for both educators and students. Other than that, it is also hard to be motivated during online classes or ODL. This is applied for both educators and students. For educators or teachers or lecturers, they have to be hyped during online classes to teach their students and also to motivate them. This will be more difficult for them as in online classes. Students have the option to close their camera and microphones. Of course, the educators can ask them to open their camera, but it is hard to monitor all of them on a screen. And microphone has to be closed most of the time to avoid disturbing the classes. And also most of the time, educators will ask something to get a feedback from the students whether they get a lesson or not. And it is hard doing so as most students remain silent for this type of question. Moreover, another thing I found is that during ODL or online classes, educators and students are having a hard time managing their roles and responsibilities, and by that, I mean their personal and professional roles and responsibilities. Most of them, both educators and students, have family, and managing these responsibilities between family and online classes are difficult as both occur at home for online classes. For example, a past teacher of mine who is a wife with children said that communication and time management as well as understanding are the keys for smooth online classes. By managing their time well and communicate decently with family members and educators or students, understanding can be reached between each other. And last but not least is the personal philosophy held by educators in their career. In education is to be determined and persevere through this difficult time. In current climate, it is hard for educators to do their job well and perform well as challenges after challenges emerge with the implementation of online classes. Even though it is tough and demanding, educators need to keep striving forward and never give up in their career as a teacher or educators, and they need to keep teaching and educating their students whether they want it or not. As such, it is important for both educators and students to have understanding for each other's situations, stop being self-centered and start working together to achieve harmonious relationship between each other and to have smooth time during online classes. And that's all from me. Thank you for watching my video presentation.